It's time!
Oh, right on the chin.
Mamma mia! What a knee!
You cannot stand in front of that man. That power is different. It's extraordinary.
And another opponent to
Whoa!
What a head kick! It's all over! A spectacular finish, just like that! Headshot, bang! Done!
What's up, fight fans? We got a brand new MMA podcast because I know there just is not enough MMA content out there in the world today. So we're here to fill that gap. This is the Fight Corner. We're going to be doing weekly podcasts to start off with, fight breakdowns, card breakdowns, going over news. Hopefully in the future we'll be doing some interviews and be able to bring you a lot of other really great content. But for right now, we're going to look back at UFC Fight Night, Ankalaev versus Walker 2. So let's get right into it. Right, let's go. First fight on the prelims, Joshua Van versus Felipe Bunez. Tale of two rounds, this one. I mean, great first round for Bunez. Landed some great strikes on the feet. Did take a mean low blow from Van, but finished the round strong with a nice takedown. Even when Van was trying to reverse the position, Bunez was able to set up an omoplata at the end of the round and just looked really, really strong. But that all went away in the start of the second round because this was a complete 180 from Joshua Van. Bunez had all the momentum going into that round two, but Van snuffed that out with vicious, long, hard combinations, landing to the body and the head, punches, kicks, knees. The pressure and the pace was relentless. Even when Bunez did fire back and hit Van, Van's face did not change. He was ice cold. No reaction to anything. Going forward, finishes this fight. 4:51 of round two, TKO. I'm excited to see this guy fight again. I can't wait for it, to be perfectly honest. Going on to the next match, Nicholas Mota versus Tom Nolan. Tom Nolan making his debut out of Australia, but Nicholas Mota said, I don't give a damn. 1 minute of straight action from both these guys. Nolan came out strong, but Mota had an answer to absolutely everything Nolan threw at him. Solid body kicks on both hands, but then Mota landed a big left-right combination, dropping Nolan and then finishing him with some solid ground and pound. Another great fight to start the card off. What can you say? We had another debut fight. The first three blue corners were all debuting tonight in the UFC. Weston Wilson taking on Gian Silva. I remember looking at the odds of this and just thinking Gian Silva's a plus 525 against the minus 750 of Weston in his debut. This guy's got to have some heat behind him, and goddamn right he does. Silva was so powerful and accurate, basically just landing on will at Wilson, who had no answers for any of the questions being asked by Silva. An amazing debut, and to be perfectly honest, I think he needs a big step up in competition going into his next fight. You know, we're not getting crazy here. We're not going top 15, top 10, anything like that, but he needs someone at his level going forward, because this guy's a potential talent in the featherweight division. Next up, we had Farid Basharat versus Taylor Lapilus. You know, this was a pretty entertaining fight, to be perfectly honest. It was fairly one-sided, according to the judges, 30-27 all the way across the board. But Lapilus, he made Basharat work. It was a fairly even first round. Basharat really pushing the pace, looking for takedowns, but Lapilus showed great takedown defense. And Basharat was able to get a takedown really late in the round, but he had to work really hard to get that. And that was basically rinse and repeat for rounds 2 and 3. Round 2, Basharat got that takedown just a little bit earlier. Not a lot of time left in the round, but was still able to get it. But during that, up until he got that takedown, Lapilus was still showing amazing takedown defense and really being able to stick with Basharat, which was very impressive. In the third round, though, Basharat was able to get the takedowns a bit cleaner and a bit earlier in the round, and he did come very close to finishing Lapalus with a Darce choke near the end of the fight. But Lapalus did just enough to defend that choke and stay alive to get the decision, to go to the decision, which he ultimately lost. But he put up a really great showing, and Basharat even said in his post-fight interview that, this leveled him up as well, being against such a tough opponent who had these kind of skills to really push Farid and see what he was having in the octagon. The co-main on the prelims, if that's a thing that people say, I say it, so I don't see why not. We had Marcus McGee versus Gaston Bolaños, a fight I was really looking forward to. I mean, McGee has looked solid so far, and Bolaños is also a beast on the feet. Very entertaining first round. I mean, McGee is so goddamn strong. He just chucked Bolaños around sometimes at that first round. But, Bolaños is no slouch on the feet, as I said, but McGee did have his number in that first round. Not close to a finish, but that was just due to Bolaños' toughness. McGee was putting it on him in that first round, and the second round started off exactly the same. McGee busts Bolaños open around the eye early in the round and really didn't let up from that point. Bolaños did have a bit of success in the round, landing a few good shots, but McGee dropped Bolaños, who fell face first to the canvas off a blocked left high kick and then came with that right hook that just face planted him. Bolaños, to his credit, he immediately popped back up. I think really only though because McGee didn't jump on him, which I think he probably should have. But McGee does seem like one of those really nice guys who doesn't want to hurt people, but will if he has to. But again, that was just the beginning of the end. McGee landed a wheel kick that clipped Bolaños, just bouncing him off the cage. And when he came bouncing back off the cage, he got followed up with a solid left that just forced Mark Smith to step in and stop the fight. And just another great performance by Marcus McGee, and another one that I can't wait to see his next fight. And it's going to have to be another step up in competition in that very, very stiff bantamweight division. So we'll see what happens, but I'm excited to see him fight again. And in a fight that got bumped up to the feature prelim, we had Matthew Semmelsberger and Preston Parsons. I was really looking forward to this one as well, and it didn't really disappoint in my eyes either. Even round in the first, not really too much in it. Parsons landed a beautiful, powerful takedown, but Semmelsberger was able to push off the hips and get back to his feet. Semmelsberger was using a lot of a tie clinch in the first round and through different parts of the fight too, but never really did anything with it. So it was a bit strange. I thought he would have tried to throw more knees off that or maybe some in-close elbows. But yeah, nothing really came of that. Parsons also landed a solid inside leg kick that dropped Semmelsberger to the floor. Great first round. The second was a big round for Parsons, landing a beautiful elbow from bottom side actually, cutting Semmelsberger open right on that hairline. We used to have that beautiful mullet hairline, but now it's a shaved head, not as nice anymore. But yeah, cut him open right on that hairline there. And Parsons did come close again to finishing him with an armbar right up against the cage, even going belly down. And when you look at it, you can see Semmelsberger grimace just as he's pulling his arm out. And those belly down arm bars, they are no picnic. Those are limb breakers. And Semmelsberger toughed it out. All credit to him to take it into that third round. But Parsons just had that pace still in the third and nonstop pressure and takedowns. Semmelsberger again had some moments, nearly secured a mounted guillotine that actually was pretty close. When you're watching the fight, you can actually see Parsons kind of foaming a little bit at the mouth before being able to loosen the grip and get back to his feet. But Parsons again was just one step ahead that whole final round. Coming close to locking in some submissions at the end there. Had an arm choke, looking for Kimurans, but just dominant wrestling and just constant pressure, which is why they call him Preston Pressure Parsons. Triple P. Finally, moving on to the main card. First fight in the main card, kicking it all off. We had the original featured prelim, which got bumped up to the main card when Manel Kopp missed weight. God damn it. We had Andrei Arlovsky versus Waldo Cortez Acosta or Acosta. I don't know how he says it. Whatever. This was, fairly even throughout all 3 rounds, in my opinion. I mean, there was just some moments where I think Cortez Acosta just kind of edged those rounds a little bit. First one being very even, no real damage landed, both landing shots. But, Arlovsky's defense looked really great in that first round. Good head movement, good footwork, moving around the cage, not taking any damage. I mean, Cortez Acosta throws hard, and Arlovsky was able to avoid all those kind of power shots. And even when he did get hit hard, he was able to shake that off like it was basically nothing. More the same in the second round, more good head movement from Arlovsky. And it did seem like Cortez Acosta was getting a little bit frustrated, trying to lure Arlovsky into a brawl or maybe make him do something uncharacteristic with his little salsa dancing and hip thrusting. But Arlovsky staying calm and not letting the games get to him. And again, it was just a fairly even round. But, potentially Cortez Acosta could have just edged that one again. But I think that was the round that Arlovsky did, in fact, have on the judges' scorecards. In the third, Cortez Acosta had a bit more success, landing good hard shots. But again, Arlovsky was really kind of unfazed by those. Even when at one time when he did get rocked in the fight, he kind of stumbled a little bit, but then right back into it, no problem. Continued to try to stick to his game plan, which appeared to just be jabs, inside leg kick, and then occasionally throwing that naked high kick to the head of Acosta. But yeah, unfortunately, Andrei Arlovsky, huge fan favorite, just wasn't quite able to get it done. But I mean, dude's a legend, been fighting forever. Can't really blame him. Going up against one of these younger, hungrier heavyweights, it's going to be tough for him going forward, I think. But there are definitely still a lot of winnable fights for Arlovsky in the UFC. I don't know if I can really say the same for one of the fighters in the next fight on the main card, Phil Hawes versus Bruno Ferreira. Phil Hawes is just, I hate to say this, he can't take a shot. Not that many people can, but great first round. Ferreira hitting a great foot sweep into side control near the beginning of the round. And then later on landed that flush knee to the face of Hawes and followed up with a few punches. Hawes survived momentarily, but then just got clipped on the back of the ear, the temple area. Dropped him. I honestly, watching it in real time, I wasn't too sure. I didn't know if he slipped or if he fell, because the shot that was thrown in real time anyways didn't look like that much. Obviously perfectly placed, equilibrium, gone, hit the ground. And Ferreira followed that up with 3 vicious ground and pound shots, and Hawes was out like a light. So I honestly don't know what's next for Phil Hawes. I don't really know where he can go from here. There's guys that have had way longer loss records with more stoppages in them, but that's 3 bad stoppages inside the first round in his last 3 fights. He definitely needs to go back to the drawing board, needs to reevaluate what he wants to do, how he wants to do it, and whether or not he wants to continue going on like this. That's all I got to say for that one. Moving on, we had Ricky Simón versus Mario Bautista. This was high up on my list of fights to watch on this card. Super excited. Both guys bring it in different ways. Ricky Simón has that unbelievable wrestling pedigree, super strong, and Mario Bautista is a dog. Strong as hell, brilliant on the feet, and game as anything. Never takes a step back, doesn't care where the fight is, on the feet, on the ground, in the clinch, against the cage. He brings it. Great guy to watch. If you're not familiar with either of these two, I definitely suggest getting yourself a subscription to Fight Pass and getting on that. Really great first round, both landing hard shots and just real back and forth battle. Simón landed a great takedown, but every time they got into a clinch or a scramble, Bautista would immediately fire back or get back to his feet and just showed a lot of urgency. basically in every position. And round 2, another fantastic round, but Batista really started to pull ahead at this point, landing better shots and showing better takedown defense. Not that Simone was out of it in any way, shape, or form, but the momentum definitely started to switch to the side of Batista going into that 3rd round. And the 3rd round, to be honest, it did not disappoint at all. Another great action round. Simone had a huge takedown early in the round, picking Bautista up, walking him across the cage, Matt Hughes style, slamming him into the corner, into his own corner. But Batista was able to get back to his feet, and as soon as he did, started landing strikes almost at will, showing some great boxing skills, some great MMA boxing skills. I'm not taking anything away from him. The dude's got hands, and he will put your lights out if you give him the chance. No joke. But just continuously wearing on Simone. Probably could have got the finish if Simone wasn't so tough, but he is. And that was a great fight. Unanimous decision for Bautista, 30-27 times 2, 29-28 by the one dissenting judge. Great fight, and just basically exactly what I expected. In your new co-main event of the evening, taking the spot of Mateus Nicolau and Manal Cop, whatever he wants to call himself. I call him Mr. Mrs. Weight. Fucking Miller. Sorry, shouldn't swear, but that's the guy's goddamn name. Versus Gabriel Benitez. Benitez, no slouch, but Miller, tough, grizzly, veteran. And I love Jim Miller. You know, dude's tough as nails. Been in the UFC since 2008, I believe. UFC 100, UFC 200. Now definitely going to be on UFC 300. I mean, if there's any sort of justice in the world, he has to be. Great first round for both. They were landing hard leg kicks, but Miller just seemed to have that bit more bite behind his, chewing up that thigh region of Benitez. I mean, I did think I saw Benitez wince a couple times after taking some of those, but again, both landing great shots, neither backing up or giving an inch. Was a little bit surprised to see Miller not going for a takedown, but I just think maybe he wanted to set that pace and just keep Gabriel Benitez just kind of thinking this is going to be a straight stand-up battle. Round 2 was an excellent round for Jim Miller, landing some really good strikes on the feet, including a really nice elbow in close. But it didn't even seem to faze Benitez, and I think a lot of guys would have been wobbled, rocked, or potentially even gone down from that. Benitez almost was actually able to secure an armbar from guard, but Miller, crafty veteran, grabbed that bottom leg, wasn't going to let him secure that position, defended really well, then took Benitez's back off of that, finished on the ground with a very strong position on the back, and yeah, you know, Miller just looking ageless, to be perfectly honest. Round 3, same as the others, Miller landing the better strikes in the feet, secured another great takedown. When Benitez tried to scramble back to his feet, Miller was just following him, took his back, and locked up a nasty face crank to get the tap. And I mean, what can you say? That's a great performance by Jim Miller. I mean, the dude's undeniable. I mean, as one of the toughest, I mean, one of the greatest to never win a title, in my opinion, in the lightweight division. But yeah, legend. Really hope to see him at UFC 300. Potentially against Paul Felder. That could be really great. I've heard some rumblings, potentially maybe Paddy Pimblett. I mean, I wouldn't turn my nose up at that fight, but I really don't think the UFC is going to go that direction. They might, but I don't think so. Moving on, the main event. Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. We all know what happened in their first fight. Ankalaev with the air quotes illegal blow, and the doctor kind of maybe messing that up a little bit. Maybe he did the right thing. I don't know. That's tough, but obvious foul. Shouldn't happen. Rematch is going ahead. And here we go. I mean, the first round was a very typical kind of a Walker round. Lots of spinning back fists, but you know, both landing good leg kicks. Ankalaev did land a very nasty low blow near the end of the round, which did give him a hard warning from Mark Goddard, and I'm pretty sure probably put a lot of fear into a lot of fight fans, thinking like, this cannot be happening again. There's no way especially once they got back into action and Ankalaev started attacking that belt line area, coming real close to some of those deep kicks right along the belt line. Kept him clean though. No complaints from my end. Moving on to the second, more of the same. Leg kicks from Ankalaev, but Ankalaev was able to land a hard right hook in close that dropped Walker to his butt against the cage, and then he followed it up with a brutal, I don't even know what you want to call this, shovel hook, uppercut, face crusher, whatever you want, right to Walker's face. Johnny immediately grabbed his face in obviously immense pain, which you really don't see too many people doing, and Mark Goddard stepped in and called the fight. And that is it. Setting up a potential light heavyweight title shot for Ankalaev again. Hopefully he'll be able to get that. Potentially maybe even at UFC 300. They might do him against Pereira. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm looking forward to seeing whoever he fights next because, to be fair, dude's a beast. And I'd watch him every single Saturday. No problem at all. Right, fight fans, that is it. Really short, quick first episode. Just getting my feet wet, trying to get accustomed to this a little bit. We're going to be coming back next week. UFC 297, Strickland du Plessis from Toronto, Canada. Really looking forward to this one. Maybe if I have the time, I'll do a little breakdown beforehand of the fights and things that I'm looking forward to, the fights that I'm looking forward to on that card. But we'll definitely be doing a breakdown of that coming up after the fights. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this, again, very short, very brief podcast about the breakdown for Ankalaev and Walker 2. And of course, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And also hit me up on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at the Fight Corner UK, or on Instagram, also at the Fight Corner UK. Any feedback, any insights, anything that you guys maybe like to see in this or any of the other content that I might be doing, maybe something that other people aren't doing that you'd like to see, specific fight breakdowns. Yes, I will be doing some things around PFL, around one, hopefully some jiu-jitsu things, kickboxing, boxing. I love it all. I hope you guys do too. And we'll be seeing you next time for the next episode. Hopefully that'll be some kind of a breakdown episode this week for UFC 297, Strickland versus du Plessis. But we'll be definitely seeing you after that big card in Toronto for a breakdown of all the fights. And yeah, thanks for being here, guys. And can't wait to do this again. All the best. Peace.